Hello Nakamas, welcome to this new video. This time I bring you my review, analysis, and theories regarding the events of chapter 1090 of the One Piece manga. We've had a few days without uploading videos, and honestly, I hadn't had the time. Let's begin with the events of this chapter 1090, which brought some very interesting things, and this chapter will also be discussing some points further in future videos. For now, let's condense the most important aspects. One of the most significant things is how this chapter starts with Luffy talking to Saturn from the Gorosei. Luffy is about to reveal information to Saturn, but Robin stops him. The Gorosei detects Robin's presence since they hear her voice. It's revealed that the Gorosei need to protect three things. One of them is York's physical integrity. In previous chapters, we learned that the Gorosei changed their plans for York. They no longer wanted to eliminate her. Instead, they wanted her to replicate the Mother Flame. Another thing they need to protect is Punk Records, Vegapunk's brain, which contains all the information from various punks that have synchronized their data in this brain, like a library full of information. Additionally, they need to protect the energy generator that powers the creation of the Mother Flame. Without a doubt, these three things are a priority for the Gorosei. They mention that the well-being of other people or things is insignificant to them as long as they can protect these 3 points. There's a very interesting scene where Rob Lucci is summarizing what's happening. He mentions that there have been 2 deaths and 4 serious injuries on Vegapunk's side. He's also about to reveal what's happening with the Straw Hat crew. It becomes clear that Rob Lucci is indeed passing information to the Gorosei or the Marines, even though he tells Kaku that he's only talking to himself. This is further confirmed by KIZARU later, saying that Rob Lucci has given them all the information about the generator's location to create the Mother Flame and all the information about the situation on Egghead Island. They also confirmed the 2 deaths on Vegapunk's side. Chaka and Pythagoras. I've also noticed that food has been sent to the Cypher Pole members who had disappeared for a few months. York had kept them locked up in the basement. It's clear that they are grateful to Luffy since they hadn't had a proper meal for many months. Interestingly, the Seraphim are present, but remember that York didn't give them authorization to finish these people off. The Cypher Pole agents in the area aren't in danger, even though they are afraid that the pacifistas might be there. These agents are in bubbles created with the material from the pacifista MK3 shield bubbles. These bubbles were created using sea energy, which neutralizes Devil Fruit users' abilities. Therefore, the Seraphim can't escape from this place. We also learn that Les Snake reversed the effects of their powers at Luffy's request. In a flashback, Luffy believes he's talking to Hancock and asks her to reverse her fruit's abilities. This triggers the same effect that Luffy had on the real Hancock. In this short interaction, Vegapunk mentions that this information is genetically transmitted. This is quite interesting as even Jinbe realizes what's happening. Some of the complications that Vegapunk and his team, as well as the Straw Hat crew, will face when trying to escape Egghead Island are revealed. Despite the communication system working again, they can't open the frontal dome. There's a barrier they need to deactivate to escape the island. However, when they deactivate it, they need to leave immediately, as they will be exposed to the marine attacks surrounding Egghead. One of the most interesting points in the chapter is that practically the next saga or destination for the Straw Hat crew is revealed. They're heading to ELBAF Island. Nami is asked by Vegapunk about the log pose, and she mentions that it hasn't locked onto a new point since Egghead Island. However, they could use the points set in Wano. One of those points is ELBAF Island. Luffy and Usopp become ecstatic at the idea of finally fulfilling their dream of visiting the Island of Giants. Vegapunk also mentions part of the plan involving the Sunny, which is conveniently nearby. The Vega Force 01 and the Sunny are both near the area. So the plan involves the Vega Force 01 lifting the Sunny with everyone inside and flying away once they're out of flying range, since the Vega Force can only fly on the surface of Egghead. Frankie will use the coup de burst to travel a kilometer and completely escape the marine battleships, but we'll see if they can pull this off based on what happens on the last page of this chapter. Something that will complicate their escape a bit is that York has changed or set a password to open the barrier and exit. Another interesting detail is the conversation between Luffy and Bonnie. She mentions that it will be a long journey, and they should pack more pizza. Luffy suggests that Sanji could cook more pizza for them using the cheese they have on the ship. Bonnie responds that Sanji is a great man, and her expression changes noticeably. Luffy also notices this change and comments on how Sanji is good not only at cooking but also in combat. I'm not sure what to think about this scene. It's uncertain whether Oda is suggesting a romantic connection between Bonnie and Sanji, or if there's something more to it. Regarding previous videos, you mentioned that it's strange that nothing has been shown about Blackbeard's ships near Egghead Island. You also discussed the possibility of Catherine Devon being involved. You mentioned the potential for Bonnie to be an infiltrator, perhaps Catherine Devon transformed. However, you mentioned you'll explore this in more depth in a separate video. At the end of the chapter, KIZARU makes his move and arrives at Egghead Island to confront Sentomaru. In a previous conversation, Saturn from the Gorosei mentioned that Sentomaru is his friend, but he can't simply ignore him since that goes against his principles. He must confront Sentomaru, who claims to have the strongest defense in the world. Additionally, we see the pacifistas in action in the area. Luffy remarks that someone powerful has arrived. There have been comments suggesting that Luffy might be afraid due to KIZARU's presence. However, after facing Kaido, an admiral's presence might not be enough to scare Luffy. Instead, this might be a reminder of their previous encounter with admirals, the Straw Hat crew, and all the supernovas during the Sabaody Archipelago incident where they ended up in a dire situation. This could be Luffy's way of showing concern for his crewmates. Ultimately, I believe the Straw Hat crew and Vegapunk will likely escape. It might not be entirely smooth, but thanks to Sentomaru's actions, they could pull it off potentially with a heroic sacrifice from him and KIZARU. What do you think about everything mentioned in this video? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments section below. Nakamas, if you liked this video, please hit the subscribe button. That helps me a lot to keep growing. And activate the notification bell so that YouTube notifies you whenever I upload a new video. Otherwise, you won't be notified when I release my new videos. Thank you very much for all the support, and without further ado, until next time.